Fake timestamps. Yeah, the fake timestamps is kind of interesting. Yeah, fake timestamps might actually be great for the race. But again, I like to give my editor pretty, you know, free control over everything. He does a really good job. What does Red do against Blood Moon? That has an ETB. There's only one swamp. You have Ragavan. You have discard spells. I don't know. Like, even if you play the second swamp, you also need to play like 2 or 3 more black fetch lands, and so it's not as simple as just adding one swamp to be more resilient to Blood Moon. You have to like completely rework the mana base, which you can do to be better against Blood Moon, but you're also going to be, oh boy, you're also going to be worse at like every single matchup besides, you know, Blood Moon, because your mana base is less powerful. You have less utility lands, and you have more swamps in your Ragavan Channeler deck, which can be awkward too. But like, and it's also true, like when you add an extra swamp and you add 2 or 3 more black fetches, like you're still gonna lose to Blood Moon sometimes. Like it's not like Blood Moon is you don't gain that many percentage points against Blood Moon that way. And you also, again, you have Ragavan, you have discard spells, like you have outs to Blood Moon. Yeah, Reanimator is definitely a deck where if you need to run a little hot, when you do, it's just like so unstoppable. Yeah. The reality is, like, you are always going to be worse against, like, you're like if you build up your mana base to be better against Blood Moon, like you almost always make it worse, like in every other game where Blood Moon's not a factor. And Blood Moon is like not played in any of the top decks in Modern. Murktide plays it in the sideboard, I guess, but I wouldn't even consider Murktide to be like in the top 5 most popular decks in the format. Okay, they only have 3 card types in the yard, so they can't heat here, so we should be fine. Explain the difference between Yorion and non-Yorion Reanimator, but having played both, which you prefer. That's something I'm still trying to, like, figure out. They, like, both, like, so, like, the Yorion lists are, like, way better against, like, Grixis Shadow, Jund Saga, Blue-White Control. The non-Yorion are better against like Rhinos, Living End, Hammer Time, linear decks in general. And so I feel like maybe it just ends up being like a metagame consideration, like what are we trying to beat this weekend, you know? Sometimes they're bringing like one Stony against Grixis. Like if I see Spellbomb, I definitely bring in Stony, but it's like can be kind of awkward against Lantern because it doesn't stop the ETB. I think Phoenix is still like tier 3, 4 the meta. Well, I don't know what your definition of tier 3, 4 is, but I've been doing well with Phoenix the last couple months. It's, you know, it's one of my 38 trophies or 37 trophies. Not a Leyline matchup? No, it's not. You can keep this. Good against discard spells. Bad against Monkey. But how is it against Dragon Regis Channeler? Resident Thoughtseize against linear decks, combo decks, big mana decks, so like Titan, Tron, Belcher, Blue-White Control too. It's also like sometimes important against endurance decks, like if you know your opponent's playing like a bunch of endurances as their graveyard hate of choice. Like Thoughtseize is a way to get through endurance, where like your discard spells and your Teferis are how you get through the endurance in those matchups. I think I'm pushing now. Yeah, I think our draw will end up pretty well against theirs so far. I guess I could have waited to play around discard spells. Could have also saved an Archon to play around Graveyard Hate. That was probably fine too. Dragon Rage's Channeler, number 3. Alright, let's eat a Drown in the Lock. It's a big problem, though, that this Drown is going to turn on Delirium. Oh, they don't have one. Okay, well, I'll just bounce the Channeler, I guess. It's a good draw. Very good draw, of course, if my opponent still doesn't have a Drown for next turn. Waffo, thanks for the raid, dude. Although, I just played against another player playing your teamer list, and that deck looks great. That deck looks really, really good. We got crushed by it. Happy New Year to you, buddy. Okay, so I can play Persist to play around Spell Pierce, but I think my opponent drew Channeler for this turn. Because they didn't Spell Pierce the Teferi last turn, and they didn't play double Channeler the turn before. So I think this just makes more sense to cast the Rites. They have the Magda Changeling deck. It's shocking how often I get asked about that deck. But it's fine. The amount of time I've card casted Archon is actually crazy. Yeah, I think that, yeah, I hard cast a lot of Archons in this deck too, but like not in this matchup. I feel like in this matchup it doesn't happen very often. Path of Peril? Seems interesting. I mean, I'm blocking. Like the block is only bad against Lightning Bolts, which I imagine if they even have any in their deck, they would side out. We get to go Persist plus Rites, get 2 Archons in play, get them Hellbent, kill both their Channelers, and then also be in a position where we can never lose, which is a good position to be in. Ask if my match win tracker is an extension, or do you manually update? It is an extension. If you type !overlay, you can get the record tracker extension. The trophy leaderboard extension is privately hosted on a viewer, viewer who's a very smart, handsome genius, encoded this for us. So that one's not public, unfortunately. I'll keep this one on the play. It's a pretty good hand. Gets you Persist a Mulldrifter on turn 3 and Ephemerate it. Or sorry, turn 4. A lot of upside here. We're on the play as well. Kind of slow though. Opponent is playing a Lura stack and they've mulled to 6. Yeah, I drew pretty hot against you, Solus, which you like kind of have to do with Reanimator, but yeah, this is kind of something I've come to understand, is that when you draw hot with Reanimator, it's just like is one of the best decks. It's a really good deck to high roll with, but it is interesting. Deputy Thief with the 1 year, but it's obviously somewhat inconsistent. Just like any deck in modern, sacrifice consistency for power level. I am fine drawing a pending here. What land are we going to get? Probably Watery Grave. Is Turok a good card against Reanimator? It is, yeah. Like, what's kind of nice is, like, the ability triggers off of, Mending. So, like, Faithful Mending triggers the Turok, and, like, it can definitely be awkward when you're making them discard Archon, but sometimes you make them discard like their reanimation spells, and it's a fine card, yeah. CFB logo, yeah, sorry. I've been messing around with everything, with the me being out of town. Everything's like feels a little off. Okay, so let's go Grief, Pitch, Persist here, so I can try not to die next turn, and then I can get an Archon and play the following turn. Okay, and I was actually dead to a land off the top. Jeez. It's actually not a bad pickup. Have I tried Martyr with Spyro? Yeah, I've tried it all. Yeah, I have tried it all. And that version's okay. I think that like the front runners are like this version, the Wandering Mind version, Smallpox. I like the Smallpox version quite a bit too. Wait, I didn't play the. Why didn't they play Arid Mesa? Oh, they're holding it for Searing Blaze. That'll do. Conceded before I could even show them the second Ephemerate. I do usually bring an Emissary in case they're on Sanctifier. Can be kind of hard to tell for sure though. I think we sideboard like this. We could also maybe trim an Archon and play like the first Teferi. I think this is probably a fine configuration. Yeah, Burn has been really popular lately. I think I'll keep this. Opponent's mulled to 6 on the play. Sometimes I think Ephemerate should have been 2 mana. It's really pushed. Well, Rolling Vortex is very good against me pitching Solitude. I'm going to main phase the Mending so I can gain 2 life through the Rolling Vortex as well. Let me discard, I think, Hallowed Fountain, Flooded Strand. Priest of Foe Rights over Mulldrifter. Mulldrifter is broken. Yeah. Mulldrifter is like the glue that holds the deck together. You can't play the deck without Mulldrifter. I should have played Marsh Flats actually. Because here I'm going to go Prismatic Ending on the Rolling Vortex and then Solitude the Eidolon. I guess I could have waited on the Solitude. Like, Mulldrifter is so important, especially in the sideboard games, where, like, your opponents are going to be, like, mulliganing to Graveyard Hate, playing Graveyard Hate, and you're just going to completely overpower them with Mulldrifter. Took 2 damage. You take 5 damage from Rolling Vortex if you pitch Solitude first. So I decided to take 2 damage instead of 5. Yeah, Vortex, whenever you play a spell with no mana, you take 5. Which I believe I said when I took the line. Alright, we're dead to second Boros Charm, 1 mana burn spell here. They suspend a Rift Bolt. So we'll see if they have like a Skullcrack up. They still have to top deck a burn spell, even if they have Skullcrack. Okay, what do we draw? Unmarked Grave. They have a Rift Bolt suspended. We're dead to a burn spell. Wait, why did they spend 3 mana on Skewer? I guess just as a flex. Huh? Pay a boost to cause in prison. I only had 3 lands. Eidolon deals you, it would have still dealt me damage. I didn't realize we had one of these. This hand is kind of directionless. I think I'm gonna mulligan. Okay, well, this hand is really good if we draw a Mending or yeah, a Mending or a Unmarked Grave. Doing Ristic Studies YouTube channel. I love Ristic Studies. I've watched a lot of it. Are we off the red-black train? Maybe for a little bit. I played a little bit of it off stream last night. I haven't been doing very well with it lately, to be honest. Ooh, another Persist. Well, we'll eventually go to discard. No, don't play Bitter or Ordeal, but you're not an idiot. Nobody is born knowing if Bitter or Ideal is good or bad. But it's bad. Yeah, we definitely had like a really hot streak with red-black for a while. It's okay. It'll come back around. It usually does. Yeah, Grief is a good draw here too. A lot of good top decks, but gotta find them. Down to 11 life. I can discard Archon next turn. Skull cracks me down to 8. Down to 7. Punished for not playing the land for not playing my lands. Committed at this point. Hold. Hold. So my opponent definitely has Skullcrack. So I think what I want to do is persist Archon, and last time I persisted Archon, they waited for it to enter the battlefield before they Skullcracked, so I can Ephemerate here and punish them for this missequence. They don't have Skullcrack. Alright, I guess let's find out what they do have. Have I played any mid-range Reanimator lists? I guess I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but yeah, I've done it all. Okay, I think I'm just going to Ephemerate the Archon. Because then their Searing Blades gets pretty bad because we make them discard the land. Okay, just going to poke me for damage, discard their last card. We go to 11. Probably can't lose. They proactively Skullcracked 2 turns ago. Yeah, yeah. They did, huh? Okay. Really stressful game 3, but we do emerge to 2-0. On the draw. I would maybe keep this if I knew my opponent was playing Hammer. I could maybe keep anyways. I got Teferis. Yeah, we can probably keep, actually. Was holding lands to discard also a really correct play. We had Unmarked Grave and Mending to draw on 2. I felt fine about the line. It was definitely a conversation though. So I guess I kind of want them to mill me so I can try to, you know, persist on turn 2. Hope for no surgical. Although there's a limit, you know, a limit to how much I'm willing to get milled. Why Esper not the 4-color version again? Yeah, I don't have a good answer for you. I know. I'm sorry. Like usually like when I make a switch back like this, I'd like to have like a really well thought out, informed opinion. But the reality is like I'm just not sure, and I want to be sure. You know what I mean? Like I would really like to. I just need to do more playtesting, so I'm like kind of just like trying to figure out and formulate my ideas. Like I never stopped liking this deck. Like this deck has always been really powerful, and like the Wandering Mind versions are better against like Grixis Shadow and like Jund Saga and like the Ragavan decks in general. And like this version is better against the more linear decks and better against Hammer Time. And that dynamic hasn't changed. I don't really expect that dynamic to change. And I guess I was just still trying to formulate the opinion on like the best way to build the deck, I guess. And like which is better in their current, you know, meta, all that boring stuff. Well, Exile Bending so second Teferi. If they counterspell my Teferi, I really want the second one. And they're gonna fill up my graveyard for me, so I need Mending less. Okay, now Teferi with the instant speed persists. Feeling pretty good. We could have persisted exile crap persisted, yeah, but I want them to mill me. I really want to mill over an Archon. 6 more looks at an Archon. Pretty good chance of finding one. And now they also can't surgical me. Okay, we found 2. I've seen the art on Borderless Stoneforge. I didn't know that there was a Borderless Stoneforge. Oh, that's from the Double Masters. Yeah, I do like the art. However, I always feel like the perspective on like one of the molten metals was weird. I feel like the perspective is a little off on it, but the art's good. This matchup seems really favored. I don't know if I'd say that. They're a deck that like main deck surgical extraction. It's hard to feel that favored against any deck that main deck surgical when you play Reanimator. But it's swingy. Like sometimes you have games like this. Sometimes you have games where they just like surgical your Archons on turn 2 and you can't win, and it's just swingy. My opponent's just dead. Just dead. Glad I didn't have extirpate. Yeah, that would have done it. And so the Thoughtseizes are really important to beating the surgicals. I usually bring in Emissary because it's a fatty to reanimate when they do surgical you. I usually bring in the 4th Teferi as well. And then I think push is usually ending is better because it can hit the artifact based graveyard hate if they have that. Tim will think with 13 months. I usually want to trim on Mulldrifter and then trim on Mending and play like 62. Maybe I'll play just 3 Archons. Play 62. Stony, well, it's just kind of tough because like Stony's way better against Nile Spellbomb, like Jund Saga specifically, than it is against Soul Guide Lantern because they have the ETB. My opponent's mulled to 4. And like they also like it's also kind of hard to know exactly what their graveyard split's going to be because they have so many like targeted exile based graveyard hate, which yeah, it's just tough to know. Awesome electric. Yeah, I like that deck a lot too. My opponent has mulled to 4 and I think kept a no lander. Inclined to trim on Unmarked Grave versus them. Well, I usually find like with Teferi, I'm like somewhat happy to have Unmarked Grave, but yeah, you can trim on Unmarked Grave. I think it's fine too. I usually like Grave more than Mending though. Back on Esper, yeah, I was trying to like formulate a bit of an opinion on Esper again. Trap is really bad for me. I think I'm just gonna wait on the fetch. Like Trap, they almost definitely have a surgical. My opponent almost definitely has surgical. Twisted Gengar, good username. Thank you for your Twitch Prime. I guess I'm gonna ending a crab here, huh? I feel like we're gonna get Archive Trap, Surgical. It's not the end of the world though. No trap? Okay. Yeah, I know, Swamp plus Mending's awkward, but I mean, you have to play a Swamp in this deck. They milled over a Rites and an Unmarked Grave and a Marsh Flats. Okay, getting Teferi down, mega important. think we'll just bounce the crab for now. They hit 2 land drops in a row. I wonder if they accidentally missed their land on turn 1. That could be the case. Yeah, I think that, I mean, they either ripped 3 lands off the top or they accidentally F6 through their first turn on the Mull to 4. They don't have a, they don't have a, a surgical. Just a bad Mull to 4. Yeah, I'm fine if they glimpse me. I'll get to persist, right? There's something holding back the Asmo food decks currently. I mean, Asmo's just like not, you know, an amazing engine at the moment. Okay, there. I found a Serra's Emissary. I didn't find anything else though. I guess I'll draw step Ephemerate Grief though, and I can persist the Emissary. Drawn is almost useless. We have Teferi in play. It can kill my creatures. And I want them to glimpse me. Like, them glimpsing me is good for me. And, like, they can kill a creature with the drown. Yeah, I guess I'll just persist Emissary named Sorcery now. Because getting into, like, the 20 card range can be kind of scary. So my Ephemerate Fizzles, I could get the counter off the Emissary, but I think I'd rather just smack him for 6. Should just be fine here. Minio got a trophy, now playing 1 ahead of Tutors, right? Minio's 35 now. Minio's like a real player to watch here. I played against them yesterday. Could you pitch Solitude and Ephemerate? Could. Oh, sorry, there. Not on the rebound on Ephemerate, that doesn't work. I think it's another Lurrus deck. I'm gonna take a mulligan. Usually when you play this list and you play against Lurrus, you want to play against Hammer Time. It's usually a pretty good matchup. GG et. But it's Grixis Shadow again, which we did beat earlier this league. It's truthfully not like a super good matchup though. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna fire off the Grief on turn 1 here. Would love for them to cast a Kroxa. Them casting a Kroxa would be pretty poggers, which they might do. Like, they don't know I'm Reanimator necessarily. Yeah, so they take my Persist. I'm just not in good shape, really. How many decisions do you think there is in Boros Burn? I feel like it's mostly autopilot. Boros Burn is a really difficult deck to play perfectly. If you think that Burn is a deck you can just autopilot and play perfectly, you're misinformed. It's just not true. Even the Blue-White Hammer matchup? That might be harder because of reanimation spells, yeah. I should maybe get Mending here. It's probably fine. Most decks are to play perfectly. Burn is pretty easy to play well. I would say relatively easy to play well, but like Burn has a lot of difficult decisions. Burn has a lot of difficult decisions. Can I say with a straight face that Burn is super hard to play? Burn is one of the hardest decks of Modern to play perfectly. I think that's even like very hard to. I feel very comfortable saying that. That burn is one of the hardest decks in Modern to play perfectly. You have like there's just so like figuring out like when to pivot from like a more controlling creature removal deck to a more to a more, you know, aggressive game plan is very, very difficult. Sometimes you need to do it multiple times a game, and it's like those decisions are some of the hardest decisions to make in the entire format. All right, we need to find Persist. Yeah, there's like no deck in Modern that's like just easy to pilot perfectly. I guess I go to 7. They most likely drown this, and then we go to 4, and then we can maybe rip a Persist. Boggles is also not easy to pilot perfectly. Like you have actually just difficult mulligan decisions. And you have decisions. I don't know. People are also like, I don't like the difficulty conversation so much because it's really pointless. Like it doesn't matter how hard your deck is to play, it also kind of feels like people like to like talk bad about other players too when we have these conversations, which I don't like very much. Tron is pretty easy when you figure out mulligans. I mean, it still has hard sequencing decisions, and Tron's mulligans are really not that easy to figure out either. I don't know. I just don't like this conversation that much. We can move on. Okay, I think I need to bounce here. If I draw a land, I can Unmarked Grave for rights, which we did find the land. Man, pulling out of this would be pretty great. I don't think I can let them untap with the shadow. So then a Shadow Channeler, 4 mystery cards. So if they just attack the Teferi and pass, they definitely have found a drown. Yeah, it could also be a Dress Down. I can't play around it. They could have Dress Down here if they have Dress Down, like, you know, we were still playing. If they have Drown, they're like, we still have top decks. It is Dress Down, okay. Like, they probably could also kill this, but... yeah, it seemed a little choked on red mana, at least. They get to play a 5/5 Shadow here. They have so many cards in hand. They could pretty easily have another Dress Down too. This is actually a pretty interesting conversation between Hardcast and Evoke. I think I'm gonna Evoke. It's just like the chump block is not that likely to work. I feel like another copy of Unholy Heat is somewhat likely. Okay, then here I think I play Teferi over Ending. This lets me maybe draw land off the minus. I don't think they have a drown. If they found one, they found one. They did. Okay. So now we're just dead to the Ragavan. Okay, we'll go to game 2. Modest, thank you for the raid. Big raid today. Tough stuff. Yeah, this has been my sideboard plan in the matchup. And then if I see Spellbomb, I usually bring in 1 or 2 Stony Silence. Yeah, I know if I Hardcast I get a chump block, but I feel like they're really likely to be able to kill the Mulldrifter is the problem. Melkin with the $10. If I have time, can you help me build a mana base for Mardu that takes your red block list, adopt Ending path? I could try. Like, yeah, it's like your mana is worse, and one thing is like I don't recommend playing path. I recommend playing Terminate over path. If you're in red black, if you're in Mardu. This is a good time though while we're sideboarding. Like what you would do is Cut all of the Den of the Bugbears. Cut the Graven Cairns. You would probably cut Voidwalker from your list too. You cut the Shizo, the Shinkas. You would cut you might play 3 Blood Crypt, 1 Sacred Foundry, 1 Godless Shrine. You might just play 2 Blood Crypt, 1 Godless Shrine, 1 Sacred Foundry. And then you would play like 7 or 8 fetch lands. You might play... I don't think you'd play the Triumph. You might want to play the Triumph. Let's see. So that's going to be like +3 fetch lands. Probably not play the basic plains. Maybe play the 4th Blackleaf Cliffs. 4 more fetch lands. That's 5, 17. I think I do still like the Urborg if you play Voidwalker. If you don't play Voidwalker, you don't play the Urborg. I kind of want to see... I think I want to play 3 Blood Crypt, 1 Sacred Foundry, 1 Godless Shrine, 4 Cliffs. You could maybe play... maybe Castle Lochtwain is like a good utility land in the Martyr version. Where I don't know that you can afford Den. If you feel like you can afford Den, if you want to get a little greedy, you can do that. That's kind of the hard decision, is like, do you play Den or not? You also might want like 2 especially if you cut Voidwalker, you might want 2 Inspiring Vantage, the red-white fast land. It's another decision. But if you're playing like 6 fast lands, you can't play any Dens. Did you have let... Yeah, sure. I should have let the draw or Mulldrifter resolve first. You always do that. So if I Mending on my main phase here, that's pretty bad against a Lantern or Spell Bomb, so I'm probably just holding it up. Should be playing 1 Shinka. I don't know, it's just like you have to be like way more conservative when you're mana base when you splash Ending. You could afford like 1 or 2 utility lands. Like you could maybe afford Shinka, but it's also like if you're playing Voidwalker still, like you can't play the Shinka. If you're playing Turok, you probably can't play Shinka. And like Turok and Voidwalker are really hard to play. The new Nganjo. I haven't seen it. No, if somebody has a link to it, we could take a look. Now spell on 3 copies at Sideboard, Rakdos midrange. I'm not a big fan of that plan, since you have 4 Voidwalkers as Graveyard Hate. I don't think you need Spellbomb that much. It's like, yeah, at that point you have 7 Graveyard Hate spells in a metagame that, like, I don't feel like you need nearly that much. This isn't, isn't Hogak meta. Man, didn't find a land. I don't think I'm just firing off Persist here. Especially if they hold on to their spell bomb, we could instant speed Persist potentially. Grixis Merc and Shadow seem to be fighting a tempo decks format. Is one just better than another? No deck in Modern is just better than any other deck. There's a lot of nuance when it comes to selecting Murktide versus Shadow. It's a very complicated question. But no deck is just better than any other deck. Howling, 2 is more than 1 indeed. Oh, these are leaks. Sorry, I don't like to look at leaks. We'll get the cards when we get them. This isn't great, but it gets the ball rolling a little bit at least. This is bad because they just take the Teferi. At the very least, we get to Persist, and they don't get to draw a card off the spell bomb. And we get the spell bomb off the field. My feeling Esper Reanimator is okay. Yeah, it feels okay, especially with Hammer Time being like super duper popular. Esper Reanimator is usually great against Hammer. Or 3-0. It feels fine. Like Reanimator is always a deck that you do have to like high roll with a little bit, but when you high roll, it is an incredible deck. Double Ephemerate, huh? John, 21 months, indeed. Welcome back. Maybe we should let the scries resolve. Yeah, we should let the DRC trigger happen first. They put Shadow into the yard, which they may have kept on top, you know. Waited for the Surveil, so you could target DRC. They have a fetch land in play. They like that doesn't work. Not a bad draw. If we weren't going to draw the land to just Mulldrifter here. Pretty easy block with the Persist in my hand. Although they can go lure a Spellbomb next turn, that's actually just like big problem. Not sure we have a good answer to that if they take that line. Yeah, found lands, huh? They played Bauble, so they probably have Dress Down or Drown in the lock up. So if we could draw another spell to you know, tax that, we could maybe get something going here. Clear on Spell Pierce, I guess. Yeah, probably taking the L here, unfortunately. Losing twice at 3-0 stinks. At least our matches have been kind of quick so far. Use the restroom too. Not 0% here, I guess. Alright, so Ragavan hit Mulldrifter. Okay, they actually accept the land. Okay, wait. They play Spellbomb. Don't give me hope, Mulldrifter. Don't do it. Probably concede if they counter this, right? Oh no, Mulldrifter, why are you doing this to me? And we drew a Solitude? Oh no, I'm hoping. I'm hoping a little bit. I hate to say it, but I'm hoping. Ragavan just needs to clear a land off the top, huh? Do you think the Pox version might be better? It might be. Yeah. I mean, we've had a good run here. 3-1 is not a bad record, even if we do lose. Come on, why do I have to be given hope just to have them draw another Drown in the lock? I'll take a draw step. Yeah, I'm dropping X1. I'm not gonna win the race if I don't. Like the amount of time Ginger is able to like commit to the grind. Although I think he's been taking it easy the last couple days. I just can't compete with it if I don't X1 drop. No! Why, Dak? Why give me this hope? Realm Smasher, thank you for the 7 months. No! Resolve! Oh, no. Man. Winning this game would be awesome. It would be so cool. But they're definitely going to kill this, and then... Yeah. They still have the Ragavan. Why only 2 canals to 4 seems to be the best land of the deck. I mean, you're more heavily white than you might expect in the Phoenix deck. You need white on turn mana for ending pretty often. Exiles of Marsh Flats. Thank you, Ragavan. They've got 2 cards in their hand. They pass back. All right. We need 4th Solitude, 3rd Mulldrifter as like great draws. Teferi ain't that bad. I'm gonna draw a card, I think. If we have Fatal Push in the deck, we just need to high roll. So they still have that Spell Bomb. But I can persist at instant speed next turn, maybe. No bounce Spell Bomb. If I bounce Spell Bomb, they sack the Spell Bomb and I don't get to draw a card. I need to draw the card. If you bounce the treasure, they sack the treasure, you don't get to draw the card. So they attack me over to Teferi. They hit a Mending. Yeah, so yeah, if we draw... Okay, they're casting the Mending, which means the Mending goes to my graveyard. If they cast it. So I think they're deciding not to cast it because they don't want to give me the Mending. They discard Ragavan, Spell Pierce. Iteration. Yeah, I think my best draws are Prismatic Ending and Persist. The exile Swamp here. Iteration. Felix with the 2 months. Glad you liked the stream. Blakey with the 20. Glad you're still liking the stream. They exile Unholy Heat, which is so bad for me. Yeah, so yeah, now second Persist isn't good, so I think I actually cast the Mending now. Looking for like Mulldrifter, Solitude. I would have drawn the Prismatic Ending! Oh no. But yeah, but now with the Teferi, the Prismatic Ending doesn't get me out of there. Dang it. So close and so far. Yeah. If I wait till I turn, I can instant speed the Persist response to Mending, but the problem is, like, the Teferi died, so that's no longer an option. I think I cast this. I'm at 3 again, though, from the Mending, so I'm not just dead. Copium. Steven with the 11 months. Appreciate you. Radio with the Twitch Prime. Yeah, we can keep hoping for another turn. We've been able to hope for several turns now, but like just this Ragavan is going to be hard to beat. We're like maybe like 1/4% to win. They exiled another land to Ragavan. Now our 1/4% goes up to 0.5%. Okay, I can hit Unburial Rites Archon, right? So I should cast this now. Get to hope for another turn, perhaps. I do still have the rights in the deck. Oh no! Oh no. We needed that one to be on top, huh? Oh no, nothing can cast it! No. Oh no. Oh man, okay, well that was a fancy way to die. So we would have drawn... Oh, it's not letting me see the cards. Okay, I guess that's probably for the best. Alright, losing at 3-0 twice in a row. At least the matches are going by quite quick. I tried. I did everything I could.